Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's second video. Running really late with today's second video, sorry about that. Been a very busy day. So we've released a 5-day forecast, managed to get that out earlier on this afternoon. So it's mainly dry at the moment, but it is going to be turning much more unsettled again in the coming 5 days, and it's going to be turning by the weekend really quite wet and also pretty windy as well. But temperatures will get a little bit of a boost actually at the end of the week. So have a look at the 5-day forecast, see what's going on. This is going to extend out beyond the 5-day forecast period time frame, and we're going to have a look at weather for next week, 10 days and beyond. So I think I better get on with it right now. I'm going to start off by having a look at what's happening in the tropical Atlantic. So we have this orange disturbance area just here, quite a long way north, as many of the disturbance areas have been actually this season. So this one is Disturbance 1 with a 50% chance of cyclone formation in the next 48 hours. National Hurricane Center are saying shower activity associated with a non-tropical low-pressure system located several hundred miles west of the westernmost Azores island has become better organised this morning. Some additional development is possible, and it could become a short-lived subtropical cyclone later today or tonight. The system will move over cooler or colder waters on Thursday, and further development is unlikely after that time. The low is producing gale force winds, and these winds are forecast to continue today regardless of development. For more information on this system, see high seas forecast issued by National Weather Service. A 50% chance of cyclone formation in the next 2 days and a 50% chance in the next 5 days. This could become a subtropical storm, but it looks like it's too far north to be able to develop into a proper tropical storm or a hurricane. So yes, it's producing some gale force winds, but I don't think you have to worry too much about that one at this stage. Otherwise, there's not much else going on in the tropical Atlantic at the moment. These were GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. Looking at London today, so red line is 30-year upper air temperature average for London. We're starting off a little bit below average with temperatures at the moment. They're going to lift up though as we go to the end of the week. It is going to get milder, but also of course more unsettled. We're not going to stay mild for very long, and temperatures are actually dropping away again as we go through the end of the weekend and into next week. Actually, there could be a little bit of a cold snap that's showing up there through sort of the middle part of next week. And overall, it does look as though the temperatures are going to be pretty cool, ready for the first week to 10 days of November. This gets us to the middle part of November now with the GFS ensembles. And also plenty of precipitation to come as well, so it's still dry for today and just about for tomorrow in the east, but after that we are opening the door to the Atlantic again, so more rain is coming through over weekend into next week. Then it goes a bit dry through the middle of next week as it has that little cold snap. Then it looks like rain's coming back in again for the end of next week and beyond into like the second week of November. So this looks like a very unsettled first half to November and quite cool as well. Temperature anomalies from the 30th of October to the 7th of November, a little bit below average, particularly for particularly for northern parts of the country, but all areas are actually coming out slightly cooler than average. Precipitation anomalies above average rainfall for particularly southern and southeastern parts of England and Wales. A little bit drier than average though for Scotland. This is how the GFS 6 o'clock run is looking. As we're speaking, the midday run is just updating, but we'll stick with the 6 o'clock run because that's fully out. So this is Saturday. Low pressure to the northwest Scotland, bringing in a strong westerly wind. Watch out for this secondary area of low pressure coming in around the southern side of the main low. That could give some very wet weather on Saturday night. particularly to England and Wales Sunday. Case of showers or longer spells of rain, really, with that area of low pressure. As it goes into the early part of next week, again, it's very unsettled. Low pressure continues to be coming in off the Atlantic. By Tuesday, it's bonfire night, the low is pushing out to the east, and that starts to turn the winds into these colder northerly to northeasterlies. So it's opening the door to cold northeasterly winds. If you follow the isobars map, the area is originating from really quite a long way north up here. So that's genuine sort of Arctic air, but it's plunging southwards as we get towards bonfire night. The only thing is, it's very quickly going to get cut off, because then we have this next area of low pressure that's developing out in the Atlantic on Wednesday. You've guessed what that's going to do. It runs in through the middle part of next week, bringing more wet weather in off the Atlantic. So a brief cold snap around bonfire night could give a seasonable chilly feel for bonfire night, but very quickly, by the time we get through to Wednesday, Thursday next week, 6th, 7th of November, in comes the low pressure again off the Atlantic. That's bringing outbreaks of rain. Maybe, cold enough, a little bit of hill snow across the northern parts of the country with that. Then heading into the end of next week, where we're staying unsettled, really. Low pressure is slipping away to the south. We are having a go at building up some heights over high pressure, building up some heights over Scandinavia, and starting to get wind into more of an easterly, perhaps into the extended range. What happens with this particular GFS run is that we keep winds coming in from the west overall, although we do raise pressure to our south a little bit by the time we get through to the middle of November. So that's bringing some drier weather to England and Wales, but for northern west parts of the country, it still looks quite unsettled. This is the GEM, rather wet and windy on Saturday, and very unsettled into Sunday too. More low pressure heading in off the Atlantic early next week. That gets out of the way, and we do pull down some slightly colder but drier air through the middle of next week, but it's not long at all before the next low pressure is coming in off the Atlantic, bringing a very unsettled and quite chilly end to next week. That's how we look as we get to day 10. So still looking unsettled then. Low pressure is both to the north, to the east and to the south of us. A little bit of a ridge of high pressure building in the Atlantic, and perhaps having a go at turning wind into the north, bringing down some colder air from the north as well. And then this is the ECMWF. Again, looks really unsettled over the weekend into the beginning of next week. Low pressure is well and truly in control of this. As we get through to the middle of next week, that low is clearing to the east, and we do start to pull in some colder air from the north, but not for long. In comes the next area of low pressure from the Atlantic. This could be a very wet first half to September, I would have thought, to November, I should say. Been a really long day, so sorry for the little mistakes. It's been a very, very, very long day today. That's how we look as we get to day 10, which is Saturday the 9th of November, and high pressure then is sitting to our north, and low pressure is becoming cut off to the south. It's having a go at turning the wind into the east. Whether it will be able to do so, I'm not sure, because this is a very, very buoyant Atlantic that we've got at the moment. We do have more areas of low pressure sitting to the south of Greenland. They could easily break through and cut off any attempt at an easterly, but that is beginning to raise pressure both to the north and to the northeast of us, and possibly hints at being able to get wind into the east. These are the options that are on the table within the ECM Ensemble today. In fact, there's only one for day 10 from the Icelandic Met Office. This is getting us to the 9th of November. So we have 51 out of 51 members of the ECM Ensembles with above average heights to our north and west. Below average heights are to our south. And we're bringing in sort of easterly winds with those. Looking quite unsettled for southern parts of the country. Could be some rain then. But further north and west, we close that ridge of high pressure. So it would be drier in the northwest. Notice, though, below average heights, low pressure in the North Atlantic. That's why I'm a bit dubious about how long any easterly would last, because I think in the end, it wouldn't take much at all to start to bring the Atlantic back in. I think this is going to be a case that the Atlantic is going to take a lot of slowing down this November. These are the options that are on the table in 2 weeks' time, which gets us to the 14th of November. We have 22 members of the ECM ensembles with below average heights out to the northwest around Greenland, and above average heights over towards Scandinavia, and of course they're going to be bringing in easterly winds. So by the middle of November, these 22 do actually get winds into the east. But then there's 19 just here that are keeping us under the Atlantic low pressure systems. So these ones are bringing in the westerlies from off the Atlantic, very unsettled with those. And then 10 have low pressure out towards Greenland and Iceland, some high pressure sitting over and just to the east of the country. They're going to be mainly dry, could be quite mild. They could be bringing up winds from a southwesterly direction. So bit inconclusive by the time we get through to middle of November. But my suspicion is that the 19 that we have just here are probably favoured at the moment, because I think the Atlantic is in a very, very buoyant phase, and any attempt at high pressure, I think, well, I mean, we are under high pressure at the moment, have been for a couple of days, but it's very quickly going away now, and I think any sort of high pressure is probably going to struggle to bed in for more than 3 or 4 days before the Atlantic unleashes another onslaught on us. It's that sort of pattern that we seem to be in right now. Finally, the CFSV2, these are 500 millibar heights broken down into weekly pairs. The first weekly pair will take us from the 30th of October to the 5th of November. The coming week looks unsettled now, with low pressure through the country. High pressure is out to both the northwest and the west of us. So we're on the cool side of the jet stream there, and we look really quite unsettled as well. That's how we look in week 2, which is the 6th to the 12th of November. Really unsettled when these blue colours start turning up on these 500 millibar height anomalies. That's forecasting a very, very unsettled week indeed. Low pressure is really dominant there from off the Atlantic. Week 3 is looking like that's still unsettled. This is an Atlantic onslaught sort of pattern for November. This is the 13th to the 19th of November. Low pressure then is just out to the northwest of us, but we'd still be bringing bands of rain in from off the Atlantic even with that. A bit of a change in week 4, which is the 20th to 26th of November. We have above average heights then building to our south and also to our east, below average heights out to northwest. That's turning us dry. It would be very mild, I think, with that. We'd be bringing up winds from the southwest. So that would be a very mild pattern, unless we get some sort of inversion under the ridge when we might get frost and fog. But generally, that looks like a very mild pattern. But the main thing is that the Atlantic is breaking down there a little bit, and at least for a while anyway, it will be turning quite a lot drier. But of course, that's 4 weeks away, and it takes us into the sort of end of, or not the end, but kind of like the latter stages of November. So that's very speculative and very unreliable. In the more reasonable time frame, which is like the first week to 10 days, possibly the first half of November, this is shaping up to be a very unsettled period. Low pressure will be in control. So no change today on what I've been talking about in the videos over the past few updates over the past few days. Looks like it'll be very unsettled for the first week to 10 days and possibly even the first half of November. And then, of course, we wait and see where things go in the second half of the month. But cool, wet, unsettled, I think that's the way we're looking for the first 10 days of November anyway, and possibly quite well beyond that. We shall see. Tomorrow we'll have the another week 10-day video update coming up for you then, so come back for that tomorrow. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.